On my blog, we're looking at the post, bypass validation rules. That's what we want to learn how to do today. And let's hurry and cover what the use case is going to be. Our use case here is in those instances where you're writing a validation rule. And let's say you have like 10 profiles that you always have to reference. And you know every single time that you go to write this validation rule that these 10 profiles never need to have the validation rule applied to them. Now, that's probably somebody like your VP or the system admins or like a managerial level of some sort. And so what do you have to do typically? Well, you have to find their profile and you say, do not apply this validation rule to this profile, right? And that becomes a very extensive list. It's kind of annoying to write it out if you are in a large company that has to reference quite a bit of profiles, or if you're in a small company that has a ton of different profiles. Either way, you got to reference a bunch of them and it gets really annoying. So what this hack or trick or whatever you want to call it, tip, is going to help you out with is it allows you to take those 10 profiles, clump them all together into one thing. So when you write a validation rule, you can just reference one line versus 10 different profiles. So what we need to do first is we need to create a custom permission. I will show you how to reference that within the validation rule. And then lastly, what you need to do is you need to assign it to the actual profile, right? So you need to make sure that this is available on the profile so that they have it enabled for them. So let's jump over to Salesforce. We got our custom permissions. Literally, this is the easiest part. You just go to your setup menu. You're going to type in custom permissions. You click on this, and really there's nothing to it. You click new, you name it something. It's not really doing anything at this point, so name it whatever you want. You don't have any extra steps that you have to go through here. You just give it a good name. In my case, I just named it bypass permission since that's exactly what it's doing. That makes it really easy to understand. So 2 seconds to get that one done, and we're done there. Next, you're going to jump over to your profile. So we have our system admin profile popped up. Like I said from the get-go, typically when we create validation rules, the system admin is never usually somebody that has to have the validation rule applied to them, right? Like you usually want to have somebody that can get around these types of things, and it's typically your system admin. So what do? When I go to my profile, well, you see this little guy down here. It says enable custom permissions. Yeah, click on him. It's going to drag you to the bottom here, and then you'll click on edit. And when this is not available, it's going to pop up over here in your custom permissions. Literally just add that. So that also takes you 2 seconds to do. And now it's applied to this profile. So when I want to reference it, I jump over to my validation rule. And what I'm doing here is I click my insert field. And typically, right, like you jump into your object, you're scrolling, you're trying to look for something to reference typically. But in this case, you're not going to do that. You're going to this little guy that says permission. You click on him and all your custom permission ones are going to pop up. We got our new one in here called bypass permission. I insert that. All I say is as long as they have that, we do not want it to apply. So now instead of writing 10 different profiles every single time, I now clumped them all into one thing. And as long as they have this enabled on their profile, they should be able to bypass the actual validation rule.